Coming out. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm actually pretty excited to be sharing with you today. Really, in a way, 6 months of learnings crammed into spending 9 hours to create, really kicking off the AI policy for Axelerant that then leads into a ChatGPT usage guide, as well as some supplemental materials for y'all. And then even getting to have the fun of spending more hours kind of creating prompts to try to be able to say, oh, hey, how can I make a presentation smarter using these tools that we've got available to us? So with that, I'm going to kind of just, just get started here. So really, there are many ways for us to be using ChatGPT at Axelerant. But frankly, while I could go diving into all the different kinds of ways that we can actually be using these kinds of tools, I actually like testing out my prompts using comedy, because frankly, comedy is very unique to the cultures, the backgrounds that we have. It's like, I don't get Chinese jokes. I've been immersed in the Taiwanese community speaking Chinese for decades. I still don't get it. I am spending a weekend with my family friends from here in Taiwan, and I'm sharing with them English jokes. They just don't get it. So I actually tried to work with developing prompts that stay relatively associating or creating results that matter for us. And so one of the things right off the bat that I want to kind of just show is say, like, hey, if we want to find out, hey, who are the top Indian comedians, we typically go to Google. And actually, this is it's a very wise choice, or say using Bing or any other platforms, because one thing that's going on is this information is relatively real time, as in, hey, what we're seeing here has probably been aggregated and figured out over the past month, if not even the past 24 hours. However, if we happen to go over to okay. Whereas if we happen to go over to ChatGPT, it's actually limited currently to data up until about September 2021. So when we happen to ask ChatGPT itself for some questions about what to be in our case, hey, or some top stand-up comedians for India, there's not quite such an overlap. Okay. So one thing to kind of keep in mind is if you actually need to be looking to know the latest and greatest information, stay with using Google or whatever search engine platform that you're using with. But say like you're actually looking to Google, or no, you're actually like looking to learn something about, hey, how do you solve a problem in, say, Google Sheets, or information of like, hey, maybe how to provide basic first aid care, or even say maybe some health treatment. ChatGPT, when used with a good solid prompt, can actually hook you up pretty well. And so one of the things that I also have going on, going back to our content, just kind of playing around with say jokes and that, it's like, hey, let's tell some jokes. But I admit I don't know the general sentiment that the Indian comedians work with. So I'm going to make sure that we are in a positive mood. And this is also something that I've learned, is by working with a wide variety of content or topics, you can learn differences that when we're asking ChatGPT to look at a famous person or act as a famous person, the responses that we're going to be getting is going to be like that. So on the American side, the top comedians tend to be on the dark humor side. So I've learned that, hey, we've got to actually put this aspect of, hey, positive sentiment or something. So there we go along, get some kind of casual stuff, in which, hey, actually, why is it 256? Who knows? Maybe that's a magic number in, as far as what we've got going on. Now, I'm just I'm not saying that, hey, these are like the latest and greatest jokes to be working with. But the thing is if, say, we are just, say, taking the typical thing of, hey, I just want to be able to generate some content, take a look, see what's going on. And if you happen to have liked it, okay, hey, fine. One way that we could be doing is go ahead and generate the content. If we generally kind of like it, awesome. One of the things that's slowly changing, and something that I'll talk about a little bit later on, is actually be working with ChatGPT in a collaborative manner. So traditionally, even as in a change of just even the past few weeks for me, is normally I would actually take content that I've generated and drop it right into Grammarly. Well, one of the things that I've got going on is, because I use, sort of a variation of power tools, is I can actually say, hey, as Grammarly, rework this content for me, in which I admit in this term, I'm saying, hey, it's actually casual business writing, which isn't quite the right kind of context. But what I would like to demonstrate for you is that after creating some content, you can actually be able to provide some guidance back to ChatGPT to modify the content to come out in a manner that might be just a little bit higher up. And so one reason why I kind of like this is many of the changes that happens to be here, I might align with. Or if I happen to realize I don't want to, if I don't like it, I can go back, rewrite the prompt. Okay, stop generating. Go back, rewrite my prompt. Say, hey, I actually wanted to be comedy writing, and then bring it around. We'll give this just a moment to stretch. I figure y'all know how to kind of handle working with Grammarly, just basically based upon the kinds of rules that you want it to be working with. You can select the kinds of things or the kinds of grammar scenarios that you want to work with. But I'm just going to go ahead and go for dropping this. So while the grammar editing is going on, I want to demonstrate a way that I go for working with, content as part of my production. So let's see. We're going to call this the ChatGPT day. Now, it was already one? Okay, so we'll call it ChatGPT 2. All right, so one of the things that I've got going on is I'm often working on awareness pieces to be making content around for Axelerant as a professional services provider or a career choice. So partly for fun, because I find it fun, at least for myself, is to be creating content around Axelerant. And let's see, I think something would be like now hiring, and I'm kind of stuck on what else I should say for a hashtag. Okay. All right. So going back over here, we've got some improved jokes. I got to slim that down to just myself. Make that go away. Okay. All right. So I've got some content that I'm going to work with. Just get my jokes changed out of. Whoa, actually, looks like I messed up myself. Let me just grab the joke directly. Is that right? Yeah, that's the right set of jokes. Okay. So one of the things that I do is I actually do quite a bit of integration work, as in I use one system to help me create content, and then maybe I drop it into another system to start doing something with it. And so what's kind of happening is when it comes around to producing content for the social media platforms that I've got going on, which I realize now I don't have that window open, is I'll leave that one open. Even though I'm coming out with a one-liner of content, I actually tend to try to break it up into multiple lines for readability. And while I may not, I got some kind of magic going on through the use of array formulas. We can talk about that stuff a little later. All right, but the reason why I wanted to kind of share with this is going back here. I'm talking about productivity. So yeah, here, I did the typical thing of creating some content within ChatGPT. And sure, I dropped it into a spreadsheet. But well, you know what? I want some. I actually am now at the point of, all right, well, I've got this content. How about let's have some images? And while I'm having some images, how about giving me some hashtags to go with it? And oh, looks like we actually have got a image title that's going to be coming along here. Because what's going on is we've got an automation scenario that basically sets some information variables that then goes over to create a realize I didn't have all these windows. Well, all right. So this stuff here in the background will flesh out. So what's happening is this particular make scenario goes and creates a folder in Google Drive that then turns around, reads the information of these three roles here to then create some prompts, such as, hey, I wanted to create a Dolly image prompt. And a little bit later, I wanted to actually create a hashtag prompt. Now, please keep in mind that those two prompt models that I just showed there are actually a bit of my older style. I kind of work on things in bursts and spurts. So the stuff that I will be sharing a little bit later here in the presentation is a bit of my newer style. So within this particular scenario, it's creating prompts. It's going out to ChatGPT to be creating the hashtags, creating Dolly prompts. And then actually when it reads the Dolly prompt, it goes and creates an image title that will be associated with it. And then what's really kind of fun is here we are creating images. In this case, say the second one to be, yeah, hopefully, dude coding. And in turn, it's actually created images. Now, what's kind of fun is these images are actually being saved as the bytecode so that it actually gets uploaded into the Google folders a lot more easily. And so seems like that these images have been created. So here we go. On our first row, let's just go ahead and pop open, see what's been created for us. Now, one of the things I definitely am finding, oh yeah, I always got to remind myself, what am I looking for? Okay, organizational empowerment. Okay, so I kind of want to find an image that works for that one. All right, I won't call these stars, but you know what? We'll just give it a pass and say that's fine. All right, but for this next one, let's see what comes up. Sorry, that's my stereotyping. I like that one. Okay, let's see. Run that one. All right, so I like that one. And let's check out these four here. And the idea is by having four, what was the context of this one? This one is automation. Oh, plants are automated. All right, so plants. I like that one. Okay, all right. Since I just really just want to work with three pieces, I want to change my limit here. Otherwise, I might be working with a lot of stuff all at the same time here. And with that, close that, save, what's going on? So while this system is running, what I can share with you is one of my next steps is then start getting this data prepared to publish it, okay? And so while we've got the images being worked on, I'll just kind of demonstrate, all right, so we've got this download format. I go to pop open this information because I want it to be CSV for uploading into my publication system. But still, I want to make it easy for being able to manage the information that's on the sheet. I just pop open the CSV. remove my configuration row. So then I can go back over. All right, Benny, good for you. And then cheating, yep, okay, I'm on here. So then what I can do is go and say, hey, I just want to play with some Twitter stuff. Pop it open. Whoops, I want drafts. Pop it open. Say next. All right, let's see. Oh, what was that? Yeah, I don't mind questions along the way. It's okay.
देखते हैं दिवाली तक बस.
All right, so I think we can just stick with the two samples we've got going on. All right, so my platform, I utilize a platform that's called Simplified for bringing these things together. Bringing it up. All right, let's take a look. Actually, I kind of like that. So I'll work with that one a little later. But let's leave those ones go. And we can go ahead and close that up for now. There we go. And basically, voila. Now I actually brought this stuff in as oops, excuse me. Yeah, I brought this stuff in to in draft. And for me, because I know I typically do Friday stuff is really work. In this case, I'll drop the content for YouTube because there isn't any. One of the interesting things that's going on is getting this warning that there's too much content for the Twitter feed. So what we can do is go over here to split it up. I really dislike separating out my key hashtags that are related to that. So I just save that one, come back over here, drop that in. Okay, we're still good to go. I also dislike having the image information separated from the tag that's going on there. And since often the composition itself is a bit long, we just go ahead and go over there and save. All right, so there we go. We've got, let's see, where's that's Facebook. Come on, give me the Twitter view. Okay, so now we got this Twitter view of, got a little comedy, Twitter threads, just for fun. And you know what? Let's just publish it now. That's really smart. I would wait for it to actually say, hey, I'm ready to go. All right, so we'll go ahead and start closing that. Hurry, 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 hurry. Not yet. All right, well, that's just going to be second. All right. So the main thing that I really want to demonstrate is really of the past, actually, good chunk of time, is let's not be thinking about using ChatGPT just to perform one little task and it just be an interactive task through say the browser itself. We can actually be tying it into other platforms to actually be chaining requests together to be working with, in which maybe one prompt feeds into another prompt, such that might be feeding into generative AI, and then on a manual basis or semi-automated basis, we go and review the things that we are doing. Okay, now, all right, finally published. Let's see, let's go for it. There you go. And so just a little bit of kind of a fun example of how at least this is generation of really simple, just really, really just simple content as what I would be working with. One of the things that really is coming out of all this effort, and there's been conversations at the strategic level here at Axelerant, was establishing what's going to be Axelerant's AI policy. Okay, And so while it's still in draft stage, but we're coming around more than likely by October 1st, we'll be launching it. And one of the key things that's coming out of it is the ethical considerations. And what's most important is that we want whatever that we're doing to be a reflection of Axelerant or ourselves. Okay. We don't want to be presenting a falsehood of who we are not. And I think that's very much in line with what I find is pretty critical for intelligent automation itself. Intelligent automation is about the relationships that people have towards what I call organizational empowerment. It's like we've been working through responsibility, accountability, engagement, and empowerment on an individual basis for the past 8 years very strongly. Now we are working to empowering teams as a whole, the organization as a whole. And we're doing it through reducing noise, reducing friction, getting rid of a lot of manual administration things so that people can be focusing on what matters with them, and especially the relationships. But still kind of going back to the AI policy, there's the ethical considerations, some legal stuff, strategic, and of course, some general suggestions around technical best practices. But in some ways, it's this authenticity of us that is what's really, really important, which is leading into what's called custom instructions. Okay. In the next couple of weeks, I will actually go for producing a little bit more information. And actually, I've already written some a blog post, and within the using ChatGPT at Axelerant page, there is a reference towards more on custom instructions, and eventually I'll work on creating some templates. But the intention behind custom instructions is in this first section is tell ChatGPT who you are, what is it that you're doing, what is it that you are interested in, what makes you happy, what do you not like doing, things like that. However, where I said that not like doing, interestingly, you have to be really careful with phrases like don't like or don't use, because weirdly it's like almost reverse logic. If you say something is a negative, you might actually be picked up on more fully, especially when you're dealing with generative AI. So when you're working, I'm finding that when I'm working with prompts, stay with a more positive phrasing of things. All right. Now, the second point of custom instructions is helping ChatGPT know how you want the system to respond. All right. So it's a case of I can actually ask ChatGPT, who am I? And it should be saying now, hey, I'm Michael. I'm over here at Axelerant, doing all this and that. Okay. It has a good idea of what's going on. And the reason being is I've actually pre-populated that information to help it be able to make good assumptions, not false assumptions about myself. Okay. And even the way that the tone in that is responding is in line with the custom instructions that I have given it for how to be responding with me. All right. But say like, all right, ChatGPT, who am I? No clue, dude. Okay. So going back to the authenticity aspect, when you want ChatGPT to be knowing you or having an idea of what you want to be saying, hearing, things like that, a great way to start that capability is by involving yourself with custom instructions. Next, now I actually want to get started in a bit of the persona crafting. When we're working with ChatGPT, while ChatGPT might have this baseline idea of who we are and how we want something to be coming out, when we're asking questions of ChatGPT, we need to be given a persona such that who is it that you want ChatGPT to be acting as, and giving us a set of information. So basically what happens is when we talk about the persona, I actually just have this one methodology that I've picked up elsewhere. This is effectively just called act as. In this case, act as a content marketer doing something, act as a software engineer doing something. Because if we actually come back over here and say act as a content marketer, say hello to Axelerant, oops. In some ways, it's going to end up being as a software engineer, surprisingly. Actually, it should be different. Okay, da 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 da. Okay, all right. So we got that one. Oops. Okay. Stop. Okay, I hit the wrong button. Okay. So, anyways, accidentally hit that regenerated. So here you go. You got this one kind of this nice welcome, very friendly, very open. But now let's say like, hey, as a software engineer, it actually should be kind of tighter. Yeah, a little tighter language, a little bit more technical right off the bat instead of this friendlier tone that's going on. Though I admit it is similar, but there is actually a tone difference. This is one thing that's going on is because I have custom instructions set, it's already whatever personas that I'm given it, that persona is being influenced by the information that's there present by me. So where we've already been telling ChatGPT about ourselves, giving ChatGPT an idea of who do we want it to be acting as, or such as a university professor or maybe an executive, that kind of thing. Now, one of the next things is when we want to be crafting the prompts and getting responses that actually matter to us, we've got to be understanding the relevance, such that we want to be knowing the audience, the tone and writing styles, and finally actually getting into the prompt itself. So when we are talking about the audience, it can be as simple as, hey, are we dealing with higher education clients? Or are we being applied for working with, say, social media followers? Or is it for, say, Axelerant team members? All right. So the key thing is, instead of just asking, say, ChatGPT to create a short list of, actually, all right, so fine. Let's just say create a 5-point list of every, let's see. Okay. So a 5-point list. Hey, why is my thingy going around? Okay. 5-point list of everyday words. All right. This one should be pretty simple. Okay. As a teacher for first graders. As executive. So this is what I'm hoping that you can understand is you can give ChatGPT simple requests, but when you start applying personas where they act as and audiences, even though that we are working with the same task, we've got a drastic difference in what the output is going to be. So here, I'm really hoping that you understand that when you get to be creating your prompts, you keep in mind who do you want ChatGPT to be acting as, or whatever AI system that you're asking. Who is it that's going to be working with or interacting with this stuff, so that you've got really, in many ways, language that's well associated with them. Now, one of the other things that's kind of going on is there's this oft kind of set thing talking about like tones, and in many ways, tone of language is like your logical or emotional connection to what's being said. Let's see. Bard. Haven't gotten to Bard yet. I meant a lot of my work's around ChatGPT. Okay. So tones, writing styles. Writing styles in a way is, in a way, writing style is like the flow of the language that you want to be working with. Generally, for myself, I personally like, especially when I'm doing content creation, empathetic and then a conversational style. When you're kind of curious to be learning more from the tone and writing style section of using ChatGPT, it will actually flow off to tones. And actually, tone is pretty important because tone is another way that we can be connecting to. Okay. Sorry, finally checking. Yeah, so tones actually is a way for us to also be ensuring that we're aligning with our personal style or the Axelerant voice. So hopefully this page will give you some ideas on what we mean by the different kinds of tones. And then writing styles, again, can also help us align with what's being considered for the Axelerant style or your personal style for the kind of work that you want to be working with. All right. Yeah, broad specificity. All right. I admit I work with some, yeah, I got some bigger prompts that I work with, but the reality is off of 6 months of practice and working all kinds of ways, the simplest prompt structure that I find that works for getting closest to success the first time around is as simple as act as for an audience to do some task. Okay. I admit I actually tend to just come straight down to act as whatever, for whatever, comma, here's a task list. So getting to really the points of what you want to accomplish can be pretty simple. All right. Now, that said, say like we're talking about our jokes prompt over here. It's not give me 10 jokes. All right. It actually goes into a little bit more extensive hey, here's our task of what's being asked of it. Here's our act as, here's our audience that we're working with. A newer technique, instead of saying don't include, don't do this, don't do that, weirdly, it's actually the phrasing is avoid and then avoiding including the joke type. Okay, which basically means don't include the joke type. So this is one of those weird logic things. I think better working with at least ChatGPT in particular, but for stuff that you want not to have happen with your prompt or to validate, actually using the avoid structure works pretty well. Now, one of the things that I find quite powerful that makes prompting most useful for us is establishing the structure of what we are doing here. And in a way, we can do it through two different methods. One is by applying steps, as in the steps that we want ChatGPT to take to create the result, as well as provide a response for that. Okay. And let's see, another one that we could be doing. Let's see. All right. Those ones, I gotta admit, it's a little bit more complicated. But the idea is to have ChatGPT tell us what does a particular phrase mean to it. Okay. And then, especially when I'm talking about when it comes to, say, providing a framework to work from, by giving this example format, when I go over here to ChatGPT, we talking about, we'll just talk about love. We'll just keep it simple. Social love, love in the context. All right, so you've got love that ChatGPT by itself means strong emotional connection towards or affection. All right. But if we wanted to know what could be a deeper understanding of love when we are using it with ChatGPT, this is another term so that we can actually read, well, if we gave ChatGPT this unconditional emotional investment, this is how ChatGPT would interpret it, okay? And for shallower or a little strong meaning of love, ChatGPT suggests strong like, so that we can actually understand its difference or understanding of what's going on. And so something that I've been working with more fully, especially in the past month, is to actually be asking ChatGPT, what does different terms mean to it? So that when I do get to writing prompts that might be simple, I'm actually more confident about it creating the results that I want, because I've actually worked on specificity. All right. Now, there's something that we run into. It's like sometimes we'll be seeing this term temperature that comes up around topics, because most often when we throw in this, if you notice, there's none of these phrases of like max tokens, temperature, top P, frequency, penalty, things like that. And in many ways, the reason why I actually give weight to the ChatGPT settings is because when I'm working on the kinds of prompts that I want consistent results from, ChatGPT settings are the way that I help control those consistent results. Actually, let me open up this one and oops, wrong one. All right, so one of these is kind of a fun thing. So basically here we've got this particular prompt that's just looking to create, say, a LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, basically a social media post. All right. So we want to be a little bit on the shorter side. We wanted to just have just a slight amount of creativity or a bit of randomness. And now this top P is kind of an interesting term. It's like if you can think about 100 things related to, we were talking about love earlier. Top P in this case is saying if you want a top P of say 0.8, what it means is you actually want the most, you want to focus your results on the 20 most common aspects of love. Or if you've got the top P over here, top P of 0.875, yeah, man, it's an awkward thing. But in this case, I only want to focus on the top 12.5% of the data that's related. Okay. Now we got some next things that are called like frequency penalties. When I'm dealing with social media, I've got like a minus a half point. I'm talking about something that's creating personal commentary. That's just like minus a quarter point. And the frequency penalty is basically something to limit the repetition of the words or prevent things being restated. So when we're dealing with social media content, we actually want what would be considered burstiness, choppiness, kind of like fresh. It's like it might tell me the same thing 3 times, but at least it's going to tell me 3 different ways. All right. And that's mainly because we're dealing with a short bit of content, whereas I'm dealing with a little bit longer piece of content. And it's okay if it actually kind of repeats a phrase because it is a long piece of content. And if you actually have too much randomness of common phrasing, the article or the content itself can actually feel pretty disjointed. Now, this present factor is kind of another interesting factor. It's got this fancy term of saying encourages novelty. Basically, to me, it's presence penalty is actually giving ChatGPT the leeway to use new words and common things like that. So since we're dealing with social media content and we want to catch people's eyes, in a way, it has a little higher uncommon or rare usage of words. Whereas when I'm dealing with a personal essay, there's not going to be so much, my verbiage is going to be more along the lines of common words. Okay. So when you want to actually ensure that, say, maybe you've got this prompt that you really like, and you want to be ensuring that it's tight or varied or in a way kind of like static or consistent, ChatGPTs are an incredible way to be able to modify the output that you desire. So say like here, if I wanted to come along and say temperature 1, it's like be as creative as possible. All right, actually similar. There might be something else that's kind of going on here. And then if we say 0.1, we can still get the coffee. I forgot to test this, Pat. Wow, it's really having to think. All right. How did the work go? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Sorry, that was a flop, but still the idea is temperature is a way that you can actually kind of control randomness or creativity in the work that you've got going on. Now, something that is kind of fun and in some ways starting to sort of kind of get to the interactive part of starting to take your questions and things like that is ChatGPT's language learning model is its natural language capabilities are extremely impressive, such that it's really incredible what's possible to actually be able to work with stuff. So if we just go ahead and have a volunteer give me a topic. Somebody can just speak up or drop in chat. I think I can see the chat now. All right. How about this? Okay, fine. F1 formula racing. Is that all right? So I'm just gonna well, what the start is, what is F1? All right. One thing to keep in mind is, all right, so here we go. All right. And do understand that this is more about trying to achieve just some general information. And also just understand, I'm going to frequently stop this. Okay. All right. So Formula Racing. So when did Formula One racing get started? All right. Sure. I'm actually implying actually, because I did happen to provide some context here, so it knew that we're talking about Formula One. Now it's like, hey, who are the greatest racers? Hey, I didn't say Formula One, but because we are in this conversation, it actually kind of knew something, which racers live closest to me. Oops. Something I've also kind of learned is that the information that's generated. See, ChatGPT knows me, and that's because of custom instructions. So, wow, actually talking about Suzuki's circuit. Oh, that's cool. All right, so yeah, all right. So actually, something that I'm running into, especially as I'm working with some larger prompts that generate thousands of characters of content, is that the display of this is actually really sluggish at times. However, the information is actually generated behind the scenes. So something that we can do is maybe ask ChatGPT to just be brief about something while it's processing. But with that, yeah, end of the day, act as for the audience to do a task. Share up my slides a little bit later, but really for most of you, the great starting point is actually the ChatGPT at Axelerant, still in revisions, more than likely by October 1st. We'll be live, and I'm very happy to work with y'all on different ideas, bringing this stuff around. Yeah. Floor is yours. I'm here for you.
Michael, I have a question. May I?
Yep.
Thank you. So while you were mentioning how to write that persona, I have to give that information to ChatGPT so that, it's personified the way, and then the data or the text comes as if you're talking. How much time did it take for you to reach to this level that everything looks so perfect? Is it like, has been like a one-time thing? Or have you had multiple iterations for yourself also? Because this looks so good. And when I think, okay, I'm going to do them, like, how am I going to get to that clarity? There's so much.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, which is why I actually I don't mind investing so much time into this, because really the thing out of really everything here is really actually two things is trying to achieve authenticity, so that ChatGPT is speaking from or knowing of you, it's responding in your way. And going back to the customs instructions, I actually find that to be really one of the best starting points. Sometimes I think what I really need to do with ChatGPT is just focus on the personal information that I convey it, because the output preferences that I share sometimes kind of takes the result in the direction that I actually don't want it to go. So I actually need to bring it back over by saying, hey, let's say exit this out and be something silly like, okay, for a third grade. Okay, all right. Okay, make sure it pops up. Come on, you done? All right, and graduate holders. Okay, so in my coming weeks, my goal is to be able to create a prompt to help people craft effectively their own persona, or actually basically some custom instruction set. Okay, so that there is. So this is another way to help start having very consistent responses that's coming through to you, so that frankly it's consistent. End of the day, so much of what I'm doing is to achieve consistency, which is probably why I annoy a lot of people when I ask, hey, where's this documented? Or how do you ensure that you're getting the results that you really need? Things like that. Within this page, there is this link to custom instructions. It's my blog post. Again, my desire is within the next couple of weeks, working on some new prompt modeling that I've recently just learned about, like just even in this past week. That will be multiple stage. So I'm looking forward to having it to come out and help people here at Axelerant be able to generate it in themselves. When I got that, I'll be sharing it out. Next question.
Thank you for answering, and I'm catching hold of you in my next call. I know what to talk to you with you in my next call to help me create my persona. Amazing work, Mike. Amazing work. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure goes. Really, thank you so much, people, for the kind words, comments. Appreciate you being able to stick around. Thanks. All right. Really, I'm not kidding. Feel free to reach out to me, ask questions, things like that. You can find me over in Learn, sharing prompts, whatnot. You can find me over here in Guild AI, sharing stuffs and whatnots. And if you happen to, I will warn you now, if you happen to send me an automation request, I'm probably going to, and I'm not sure what you want. Okay, that's not it. No. I probably will ask you a bunch of questions about what did you say when took automation, but really, I'm not kidding. I and my team at Sayeda and Amarit are here to help you all get more out of what you've got going on. So please, in many ways, some of the reasons why I've gone as far as I have is because y'all do ask some great questions, and frankly, I don't know. So I go for figuring it out. Yeah.
Anyone, any questions or?
I'm great magic recipes, Michael. I'm kind of wondering, if we could have ChatGPT connected with Zoom and ChatGPT could ask questions on my behalf some point of time.
Actually, Zoom just launched that 2 days ago. No, yeah, 2 days ago.
Okay.
So it's something that we're taking a look at. The ultimate goal is actually we're slowly working around to having an AI chatbot that is Axelerant, that is trained up on Slack and Jira and Confluence and everything else like that. We are slightly past proof of concepts for that. However, I admit that even what we've probably got going on right now is probably just more than likely a midterm or an interim solution. But it's just like you actually see I've got this prompt. I've got basically I've got this prompt system here such that hey, I actually click and actually I've got variables that I can be working with. Frankly, this is not something that's right off the bat available to you because it's like a third-party tool. But I am working towards with my team actually maybe even looking into things like this tool GPT is something that I'll be investigating this coming week, and potentially it can be the start of having a unified interface for Axelerant and working with ChatGPT, in which actually multiple of us can be working with the same instance. So it's like, hey, I see Hital and the Sorab. It's like, hey, we actually want to talk about 10 ways to improve delivery management for Axelerant. All right, so we just start off with this basic prompt. Yes, I completely left out the act as and for the audience, but technically the audience is implied, however. But maybe this can actually become a shared basically a shared chat session, because right now, even if I happen to refresh my page and I go give, say, $1 Sorb, the link to this, they don't have access to it. But under something like ChatGPT, Team GPT, we would actually have shared access to it. And we could even be able to have like the marketing section, the sales section, or basically group role, whatever, desired outcomes to be running these things. And actually what I really like is the capability of having a code library for how to be approaching the for how to be approaching these things. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah. Actually, what's really the fun part is stuff that I'm working on is even a case of, all right, say we write a actually say we want to create a training program about the AI policy. Well, technically we can go take this particular prompt, give it this feed, and it will create this presentation. It doesn't directly do the images. The images is actually coming out of suggestions. Oopsie, not that one. But it is, oh, sorry, I didn't come to, okay. Yeah, but actually in my creating, or in my using a prompt, a multiple stage, or an important prompt, I'm actually even having it give me ideas. How do I demonstrate this? What should be my talking point? Hey, what should be, what might be a prompt idea? Okay. So that's one reason why, even though that the prompt might curate the initial thing and say 5 minutes, but it still takes 2 hours to actually really bring this around. Whatever we're starting with ChatGPT, it's just a starting point before it actually gets published. Honestly, yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't gotten much into ChatGPT and Slack itself. I'm actually got conversations coming up in the next week that's more focused on digital exhaust. Actually, somebody else's AI platform would be looking at what we've got going on in Slack and other tools to help us with retention. And that could potentially turn into other things. But feel free to ping me and ask me questions.
So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, thank you, Tripti, definitely. I appreciate this ask, and I gotta admit, I actually think that the show and tell session is a great idea. By saying yes, that I'm going to do something, but at this point in time, it actually helped me and Ankur and a couple of others of us really propel just getting, say, like the AI policy, and then even just all this knowledge into one place to really help out at Axelerant. So thank you for that drive.
Michael. So, do we have any more questions, or are we good? Right. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for presenting today. We really appreciate your time and the expertise in ChatGPT. I never thought that it is, it is so deep and we can do so much in ChatGPT. Thank you. Thank you so much for the session. And thank you everyone for your active participation today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Actually, I should have probably dropped in the so anyways, in the Zoom channel, it's the connection. But yeah, with that, actually, I got to go to my meeting now. So everyone, thank you so much. It really is a pleasure. I love it how you challenge me and the team so that we can actually come back with some greater stuff to help you. So with that, bye.